The Excel gift import feature is an optional and often faster method for creating gift records in Denari. It allows you to enter the gift information into a spreadsheet and then upload that spreadsheet to Denari. The process creates a batch and gift records. Some users find this method faster because they can copy down codes that are common among the gifts in the batch and work through a spreadsheet more quickly than the Denari gift form. It works best when you're using some type of bounce back or return form that the donor sends with their gift that includes their account number and possibly the fund and appeal code that generated the gift. It also works well when you have a set of gifts that are the same month after month, and you can simply then upload them to Denari. There are three models available for the import process. Let's click on the gear icon and then Setup. Here we see the gift import model field. The drop-down shows three options: the general fund from donor jurisdiction, default fund from appeal campaign, and general model, no defaults. You can choose the option that best fits your needs. We'll start by discussing the general model because it's the simplest and most popular method, and we'll discuss the first two later in this session. So we'll start by going to the Gifts tab and then Gift Import. When we click the Import XLS Documentation link, Denari will give us a sample spreadsheet, and I'll show you what that looks like here. It shows the fields that are both required and available for your import spreadsheet for each of the model. So let's jump down to the third option that shows us the required fields for the general model. We see there are the five that are required are account, amount, appeal, fund, and letter, and they're shown here in green. Those five fields must be in the first row of your spreadsheet and must be typed exactly as you see them here. So you'll have a column with account in the first cell, a second column with amount, one for appeal, etc. The other fields you see here, like check number, notes, premium, charitable, etc., are all optional fields and can be used if you need them, and they can be entered in any order. And I've already gone ahead and set up a little sample here for you to look at. So we see account in the first column, amount, appeal, fund, letter. After row 1 is set up, you can begin entering the data by entering the donor's account number in that field. You don't need a dollar sign, and if the amount is an even number, you don't need decimals. If the amount is $10 for example, you just enter the number 10. You will enter codes in the appeal and fund and letter fields, and that goes for any of the optional fields that involve records that are already set up in Denari. Each letter record, appeal code record, and fund code record have both a description field and a code field. The code is the identifier for Denari, so that's what you need to use here, not the description. So you may need to look those up ahead of time. A quick note here: if you want to use a new fund code, appeal code, etc. for your gifts, you'll need to set that code record up before you upload your spreadsheet. Denari will not create a new code on the fly. Now we can move to row 3 and continue to enter our data. As mentioned earlier, one speed advantage here is that if many of the gifts in the batch have the same appeal code or the same fund code or letter, you can simply copy that down to all of the fields in the spreadsheet to make data entry much faster. Once your spreadsheet is complete, save it to your computer, giving it any name you would like. Another note here: Denari only uses the older version of Excel at this point. In other words, that file name must have an XLS extension. The newer versions of Excel uses an XLSX extension, and Denari will not be able to recognize that file. So when you save your file, you'll need to go to File and Save As and save that in an older version of Excel that uses the XLS extension. Now, to upload the spreadsheet, you'll go to the gift import page, click on the Upload Excel Spreadsheet link on the right to browse for the file that you just created. So you'll select that file, and then click on Upload Spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet now will appear here in the field here. And so then to complete the process, you'll click on Import Spreadsheet Gifts here on the right, and that will then create a batch and a set of gift records. The batch will have today's date and a gift record for each of the gifts in your spreadsheet. Denari will also give you a summary of the upload in your inbox. You'll need to review and then close the batch. It's a good idea to test this the first time you attempt to upload gifts with a spreadsheet with only a couple of gifts. It's much easier to delete 2 gifts than 200. If a gift you are entering is a split gift, you can enter the splits each on their own row in the spreadsheet using the same donor account number for both. Denari will recognize the duplicate account number and will set up one gift with multiple splits. There are 2 fields that need a little bit of explanation. Let me go back to the spreadsheet. And they are charitable and pledge. The upload process assumes that all gifts being uploaded are charitable and that they will be credited to a pledge. So to break that assumption, you need to put an X in the charitable or pledge fields. When Denari sees the X in the charitable field, it will make the gift non-charitable. When it sees the X in the pledge field, it will not link that gift to a pledge. So those work a little bit backwards from what you might expect. If there's no X in the pledge field, Denari will find the first open pledge for that donor and link the gift to that. If that donor has multiple open pledges, you may need to then enter that gift manually to be sure it is linked to the correct pledge. Now, let's discuss the first 2 models we saw earlier, the default from jurisdiction and default from appeal campaign. Both allow you to have fewer required fields in the spreadsheet because Denari will pull needed information for the gift record from another source. So back on the spreadsheet, we'll look at the jurisdiction model first. And we see that there are 2 required fields, account and amount. So now we'll go to the plus sign here in Denari and then jurisdictions. And we'll just select one at random. Here we see the fund and appeal code fields in the jurisdiction setup form. So let me go back to the spreadsheet. And again, the only 2 required fields in the spreadsheet for this model are account and amount. So during the import process, Denari will find the donor based on this account number in the spreadsheet. It will take the jurisdiction from that donor record and then pull the fund and appeal from this jurisdiction record to use in the gift record. So obviously that means that all of your donors must have a jurisdiction selected. It will pull the letter from the default letter that you've previously set up in company preferences. All of the optional fields then work in the same way as the general model we looked at earlier. Now here in the spreadsheet we see that appeal and campaign model works in the same way. The required fields for this model are account, amount, and appeal code. And again, let's go back to the plus sign and to campaigns. And again, we'll select one at random. And here we see the fund code field. And we'll need to select one there if we're using this model. During the upload process, Denari will identify the appeal code from the spreadsheet and look to see which campaign that appeal is linked to. It will then look at the campaign record here to find the fund code and use that in the gift record. Here you can select a letter in the campaign record to be used in the gift record. These last two methods can save you some data entry time, but it is important that the setup work be done carefully for them to work. As mentioned earlier, the general model is a little more direct and straightforward, so you'll need to decide what will work best for you. If you have any questions about this topic, please contact our tech support office by clicking on the Help button at the top of the Denari page.